divine selves and transcendental friends from across the globe. Today is World Environment Day. Every year on 5th June we observe World Environment Day. Remember the difference between the word observe and celebrate. Those who don't understand the difference and the nuances write or say, we are celebrating the World Environment Day. There is nothing to celebrate as far as environment, the natural world is concerned. This Sacchidananda, before becoming sannyasi, worked exclusively for about 3 decades on the issue of ecological crisis and environmental safety. Because Sacchidananda was deeply convinced since 1980s, early 1980s, that the challenge of ecological security is the greatest challenge mankind is confronting today. No challenge humanity as whole is facing is bigger than the challenge of preserving the ecological security, environmental safety. One would wonder, many of you would wonder, what a sannyasi, a monk, a renunciate like me has to do with World Environment Day or the concern of the protection and preservation of the environment. I am speaking today on the topic, the challenge of ecological security and the role of Non-dual Vedanta. I, as a spiritual person, am hundreds and thousands times more deeply concerned, connected, and sensitive to the changes, negative or positive, in every single atom of the cosmos. Before I come to the issue as to how and why the philosophy of non-dual Vedanta alone would be able, if at all, the philosophy, the perennial and universal values of the non-dual Vedanta alone can secure the natural environment, the integrity of environment cannot be protected and preserved unless and until you realize you understand deeply as to what is your connection with ecological resources, natural environment. My friends from across the globe, let me come straight to the diagnosis, philosophical diagnosis of the problem. Unless and until we have an honest, deeper, comprehensive analysis and understanding of the true dimensions of ecological crisis, we are not going to do justice to this cause. We are not going to protect our environment just by observing or celebrating in a ritualistic manner on 5th of June, the World Environment Day. For 30 years, this Sacchidananda continued to observe or celebrate the World Environment Day, staying in the national capital of India, that is New Delhi. International conferences, workshops, great environmentalists, great messages, great conversations would take place. One would enjoy all those things, one would take place and resolve to protect the environment, but there was hardly anything done to address the root causes of environmental crisis. Unless and until we go deeper in the malaise of environmental crisis, it would be just a lip service. In every country, and this year, every year they choose a particular country where there is focus for observance of this day. This year, India is the focus. You will find the celebrities, politicians, big businessmen coming out and uttering noble words. This hypocrisy is at the root of the ecological crisis. Those people who are responsible in the first place to destroy our natural environment, to harm and hurt Mother Earth beyond nature, they come to pay lip service on this day. They are known as celebrities. Whether United Nations or all the nation states, they choose their brand ambassadors for this day or on the issue of environment. They are mostly celebrities, so-called from entertainment industry. From the entertainment industry or from the commercial world, who are hell-bent on promoting and protecting the crashed commercial values and cultural paradigms in the globe at the one place, which is at the root of destruction of ecological integrity, and the same people come and pontificate on the World Environment Day that please protect environment. This hypocrisy must stop. If you wish to really protect Mother Earth, you must identify as to who are the communities, who are the professions, which are the activities in our own personal, family or community life which are responsible for destroying our environment. Let me go to the root of the entire problem. As a Vedanta philosopher, I am going to talk about what I understand and how I relate, and somebody who worked for the issue of environment for 30 years as a journalist, as a writer, as a researcher, as an environmental activist. And when Sacchidananda became sannyasi. He was heading the research institute called Center for Environment and Food Security in Delhi. And those experiences, deep experiences during 3 decades, are basis of my understanding one of the fundamental principles of Advaita Vedanta is that we, the humans, are nothing but a bundle of beliefs. Humans, as we are predominantly thought-based species. To put it simply, you are what you think. You are nothing more than a bundle of beliefs. So, what kind of beliefs which govern our daily life are responsible for destroying our environment? Broadly speaking, we can divide the philosophical paradigms governing this cultural, social, environmental behavior of entire globe in 2 paradigms. The predominant economic, social, cultural paradigm governing the world today is that of Abrahamic religions, that is Judeo-Christian religions. Those who know the fundamental principles and teachings of all Judeo-Christian religions would tell you that all the streams of Abrahamic religions and Judeo-Christian theology celebrate the conquest of nature by man. That is at the root of ecological crisis, environmental destruction, global warming, depleting forest cover, disappearing water bodies, extinction of biodiversity, rising temperature, suffocating pollution levels in the metros of the world, pollution of water bodies, pollution of air, pollution of atmosphere. In every single atom of the environment, we are injecting poison. Do you inject poison within your body? Do you inspire your children, your own sons, daughters, or family members to swallow poison, drink the drops of contaminated drinks? You never do that. You are very much concerned about anything and everything that could be defined as yours. You are very much concerned to protect and preserve the integrity of the health of whatever comes under the rubric yours. So you are not going to poison the lives of what you consider as yours. But whenever you create this artificial mental world of yours, there is another world of others. So you live in schizophrenic state. The humanity, largely driven by Judeo-Christian religions, Abrahamic religions, especially after globalization of economy and commercial activities, have globalized their destructive values of differentiating and governing their political, cultural, economic, commercial activities based on the lives of mine and lives of others. The Judeo-Christian religions open declaration of war against nature. The Judeo-Christian theology celebrates it's in fact an unholy war, an unholy invocation to conquer Mother Nature, unholy invocation to unholy humanity to come and conquer Mother Nature. From the womb of Mother Nature, you exploit as much as you can for your personal aggrandizement, your economic prosperity, your financial well-being. Let the environment go to hell. Let the Mother Earth die. Let the water bodies dry up. Let the forest disappear. Let the biodiversity be extinct. You are not concerned because you are deeply trapped in cultural, psychological and spiritual trap that has divided the cosmos within you and me. Vedanta philosophy tells us that all the sorrows and sufferings and problems confronting you as an individual or you as the entire world, humanity, arise only out of the sense of duality. If there is I and you, there is bound to be injustice, indiscrimination, hatred, exploitation. The sages and seers of ancient India realized the holistic, integrated mysteries of entire existence, and thereafter they came upon the eternal and universal values which could sustain the entire human race. If the human race realized its true nature, the true nature of the universe, true nature of the world, being non-dual. There is no diversity, no distinction. All duality, diversity and distinction in the visible world is at surface. At the depth of the ocean there is no wave, no ripple. There is one unfathomable deep ocean. If one wave on the surface of the ocean develop a sense of jealousy and hatred against the other wave and tries to kill the other wave, what happens? Who finally suffers? There is no existence, there is no life of a wave other than that of the entire ocean. Similarly, we the humans and this natural environment, this entire world, the entire solar system, the entire atmosphere, the entire world we know of are not different. The first and foremost principle belief that must guide and govern all our social, cultural, political, economic and commercial activities must be this, that we as human beings have a collective destiny. The source, substance and substratum of our existence is not this body-mind based duality and distinction, but one non-dual, infinite, pure awareness. If out of greed I begin to destroy forests or the biodiversity nearby, or begin to harm the water bodies, thinking that I have nothing to do with their destruction, their disappearance. I will gain financially, I will earn the money, deposit that money in the banks and I'll enjoy the life. That is the utter stupidity of humanity, especially the Western countries, the so-called developed countries are responsible. The world must bear in this mind the economic model that has evolved and the capitalist model, the capital intensive, profit oriented, crass commercialism that is dominating the economic activity of today's world is at the root of ecological crisis, and we are not prepared to pause and think. We think that things can continue as usual. My dear friends, when you are destroying the natural environment, you are creating ecological crisis, you are creating crisis within yourself. There is no other. The entire universe exists within yourself. If you think that you can destroy water bodies and you can remain immune, that is your illusory understanding, my dear friends. You will be destroyed. You destroy the water bodies, you will be destroyed. You are water. You are water. You destroy a single atom of water, you end up destroying something within yourself. You destroy the forest cover, you are destroying something deep within yourself. When you kill water bodies or other natural resources or biodiversity, you end up killing something deep within yourself without realizing that, due to the ignorance of mental, dualistic, illusory understanding governing our life. Therefore, the predominant economic paradigm governing the globe today must pause, and the people, the theological systems and their belief systems which are responsible for indiscriminate destruction of this environment must own up the responsibility, and those countries and cultures, particularly of the Eastern Hemisphere, must pause and think too that their blind faith in the Western technologies and economic models is leading them to nowhere. Economic prosperity at the cost of ecological destruction is most dangerous and most stupid understanding of human beings. It's like chopping off or selling off one's own one hand, left hand, to a highest bidder, and then to tell the other hand, oh, I have earned this much of money, keep it, enjoy that. Can you do that? The entire, as you are an organic whole, you are not atomized system, mechanical system, you are an organic whole, every single atom, every single cell, particle and atom in your individual life as well as your cosmic self are integrated whole. They are related to everything else. The entire environmental movement in 1972, after the first World Environment Conference, and the movement towards sustainable development arose primarily on this faith that everything, environmental scientists also have told us, not only theological or philosophical basis, but the rational science also has told us that everything in the cosmos and every single atom of the cosmos is related to everything else. The entire life and the globe is a wave where every single atom is related to every single other atom. You cannot remain an isolated, atomized, happy individual life, whereas the vast majority of humanity and the natural world, the natural resources are being depleted, destroyed at fast pace. Your fast rising GDP and the metros of concrete jungles you are creating cannot remain immune to the destruction of the forests, disappearance of the biodiversity, contamination of the water bodies, excessive air pollution, unbearable. In Delhi, you must have heard this data. More than half of school-going children in Delhi, due to air pollution, have irreparably damaged lungs. One or the other element has already begun to afflict them, irreparable damage. Delhi is fast becoming a ghost city, ghost township, ghost metro. You must breathe money, dollar and rupees. What are you going to breathe? For last 2 months, after 2-3 years, I am staying in Delhi to just experience this alone. And I am able to bear this simply because this being the month of May and June, there is least pollution. Otherwise, when I came in April or when I come in October, November, it's unbearable, suffocating. Then I wonder what the biggest politicians of India is staying in Delhi, the richest corporations and their CEOs staying in Delhi are going to breathe. Are they going to purchase clean water? Is oxygen available? Though there are now oxygen parlors, and the mind creates illusion after illusion. They think that they have solution to all the problems. That is the greatest foolishness of humanity. Unless and until you realize the sanctity of entire world, the cosmos, you are not going to protect the environment. Let me come to the brass tacks of Vedanta philosophy. As long as Mother Earth and natural resources continue to remain an external resource, natural resource base for your personal prosperity, economic exploitation, commercial aggrandizement, there is no chance and there is no future for Mother Earth. Mother Earth is going to hit back against you, and when Mother Earth hit back, it will hurt very badly, unbearable. You won't be able to realize the wrath of Mother Nature. You will be disfigured. Already the Mother Earth and all the other natural systems existing are being damaged beyond repair and recognition. So realizing the importance of this entire holistic, integrated whole called world or universe, the sages and seers of India told us that, and me as a monk, Paramhansa sannyasi, have deeply realized that there is nothing called other. The entire universe exists within me, and I alone exist as self of all in each and every single living and non-living being in the universe. I am the sun, I am the moon, I am the star. I am the plants, I am every single fish and bird, every species in the animal kingdom or every plant in the forest. It's me alone has manifested as all this diversity. So if I want integrity of myself, I want welfare, happiness of myself, it's incumbent upon me to protect all, at least not to harm and hurt my own shadows. This entire universe is my own reflection. And that my own self is a sacred reality. The Ishavasyopanishad, the very first verse of Ishavasyopanishad lays down the fundamental principle of human behavior. All your political, social, cultural, commercial, economic activity must be governed by this universal principle laid down by Ishavasyopanishad's first verse itself. The first verse of Ishavasyopanishad gives the blueprint, the remedy for not only ecological security, environmental safety, but security, safety and happiness of all together. If we behave on the basis of our deeper understanding of the relationship we have with our environment, the external world. What's that principle? Ishavasyopanishad says, Ishavasyamidam sarvam Ishavasyamidam sarvam Yat kinchi jagatyam jagat Tena taktena bhunjitha Magridha kasya svidhanam. This is the most radical and yet most practical principle governing social, political, cultural and economic activity of ancient India, and it must govern our life today. The entire humanity. It's a universal and eternal value and principle taught by sages and seers. It says, this entire cosmos, this entire universe is filled by, covered by none other than that Isha, the supreme reality, Brahman, supreme self, of the nature of pure awareness, that bliss awareness alone is the source, substance and substratum of this entire visible universe. Therefore, everything in this material world, in this natural world, belongs to that supreme reality, to that Brahman alone. Brahman alone is the true proprietor, true owner of this entire wealth of the universe. None of the natural resources, none of the financial resources, economic assets, you say that they are yours. They are not yours, because every single atom in the universe is pervaded, filled by none other than the Self, the Brahman, Isha, God. Therefore, you can utilize or consume only that much, and with the permission of that to whom all this belongs, the Lord of the Lords, the Supreme Reality, the pure consciousness is the ultimate owner, and that reality is one non-dual reality, universal cosmic reality. You as individual self, you think that this house belongs to you, this patch of land belongs to you, this water body belongs to you, these trees belong to you. This is your ignorance, and this is a violence, this is a sin, this is a crime, this is a violence, and what it calls Ishavashopanishad in other verses, that it would be treated as stealing. Without permission of the legitimate owner, if you take away something, that is called stealing. Therefore, the practical dimension of this teaching is that you must be concerned and careful whenever you are using anything from this world, this universe, or in the immediate environment, whether you are using water, using foods, vegetables, fruits, whatever you are consuming for the survival and protection of your body, the nourishment of yourself, it must be with reverence and realization that this doesn't belong to me. It's the grace of that God, the grace of Supreme Reality, which has created these natural resources which are sustaining my life, this beautiful life called human life. All the happiness, joy and bliss I enjoy in my life is thanks to that Supreme Reality, Isha, the God, the Brahman. Therefore, I must behave, exploit, quote unquote, exploitation is such a nasty word, destructive, violent word. Use whatever I use from the immediate environment, it must be in consonance with the principles of collective coexistence. My existence and existence of the river bodies, Mother Earth, forests and other species, biodiversity are not separate issues. Therefore, the entire Sanatana Dharma was predominantly guided and its values governing every dimension, every sacred occasion in Sanatana Dharma. A believing and devout Hindu and all the rituals, symbolic rituals also have very deep philosophical, spiritual, ecological, practical messages for sustainable living, sustainable coexistence, sustainable lifestyle. Whenever you go across India, you will find in small villages to even to big townships. Here in Delhi, every morning when I go for walkouts, I see women, men worshipping people tree, banyan tree, offering water, offering flowers. It has a deeper meaning to those who don't understand, those who belong to Judeo-Christian traditions, who celebrate the conquest of man, where nature can never understand that. And they make fun of Hindus. Now the nature is making fun of them. The reverence shown to every dimension of natural world is essentially a reverence to the ultimate reality, to whom all this manifested, expressed world belongs to. That is an approach and attitude of sacredness. Everything in India and Indian culture is regarded as sacred because everything is pervaded by none other than God, Brahman. What is sacred? What is inviolable? Anything and everything that is pervaded, filled by the sacred, eternal, transcendental dimension of your existence is sacred. And there is not a single atom, not a stone, not a single plant, not even a single dry leaf of a grass that is not sacred in Indian culture. Sanatana Dharma considers this entire universe as supreme reality alone. One of the greatest statements of Upanishads upon which this entire non-dual philosophy of Vedanta is based is that of Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. This entire universe is verily Brahman. This entire manifested and visible universe is nothing but Brahman. Thereby, the Brahman alone is present in every single living or non-living, sentient or insentient being in the cosmos. When you harm, hurt or exploit even a single insect or a species or a plant, you harm none other than that Supreme Self, the God, the Supreme Reality. That's why to sustain our life, we do need natural resources. We would need water, we would need plant life, we would need forests, we would need to do agriculture. But deeply realizing the value of the entire natural resource base, the ecological resources, their sanctity and sacredness, we first bow down before them. We seek permission mentally from that almighty reality which is source, substance and bestower of all the natural resources before we go dig out or take out even a small piece of that soil, earth, or even some pieces of some plants or even the leaves. I remember as a child, Before plucking the flowers or even plucking few leaves for some ritual, we used to bow down to that, the god, the deity residing in that tree and plant, and seek his, her permission with request. That approach, that philosophical background, cultural values governed by that philosophy alone can ensure ecological security. Sarvam khalu idam brahma. This is not a sectarian statement. This statement is not limited to Hindus. This is a transcendental message. Had humanity, especially the Western world and those Christian, Judeo-Christian theologies and Abrahamic religions, realize the depth and dimensions of this declaration of the Upanishads that Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, you won't have come to the kind of ecological crisis you are standing today. The global warming is stirring. The Sacchidananda, when people didn't know how to spell out global warming, used to write in national newspapers editorial articles, because deeply one realized what is happening to Mother Nature and thereby to ourselves. When you are destroying natural resources, you are compromising with ecological security, you are compromising with your own security, you are playing with your own future. Are we prepared for that? The way humanity is behaving, it seems that all the lessons after the realization of the dangerous dimensions of ecological crisis have been learnt only for intellectual discourse and discussions. To some extent, in some corridors of political power also some decisions are being taken. Some of them are definitely right. One of the greatest, and it's very successful, it must be lauded, the current political dispensation of India has taken a great initiative of floating this International Solar Alliance. It will go a long way in providing alternative to the so-called mainstream grid energy supply without harming our environment. Similarly, we have to look for solution. We have to fulfill our daily needs. There is no denying the fact, but it shouldn't be so indiscriminate, random, violent, aggressive, destroying the environment. No. You must realize that when this entire universe is Brahman alone, the inviolable sacred reality, almighty reality, you can't challenge that reality. You can destroy rivers for some time, you can despoil forest cover for some time, but sooner you would realize that you are not destroying forests, you are not destroying water bodies, you are not depleting the biodiversity, you are destroying yourself. The left hand was trying its best to chop off the left hand. Realize the wholeness, inavailability of all the organs of the cosmos, and that can come only and only you realize the deeper dimensions of Non-dual Vedanta, which is the foundation of this entire Vedic culture, where every tree, herb, or every animal, every bird is sacred because it's a dimension of that sacred supreme reality. Unless there is change in attitude, accepting and conforming, affirming and behaving accordingly, that this entire cosmos is a holistic, organic reality pervaded and propelled by that sacred reality, which is a live reality, all-powerful reality. If you destroy it, you will hit back with 1,000 times more ferocity. Our future and our economic prosperity cannot be at the cost of the destruction of the environment. That economic prosperity, that commercial growth, which is at the cost of the integrity and security of Mother Earth, the natural environment, is very short-lived. It can't sustain. Therefore, all the paradigm shift in technologies that we are using, capital-intensive, resource-intensive technologies which are governing our day-to-day life must be abandoned slowly and slowly, and they must give way to more sustainable ways of production either of the food or production of industrial products. In protection of ecological resources, safety of environment must be made the paradigm, that economic paradigm's foremost concern. But crash commercial vested personal interests of transnational corporations driven by capitalist exploitative agenda is so blind, so short-sighted, that it fails to realize that one hand is killing the other hand. My dear friends, the protection of ecological resources, protection of Mother Earth can't be done through technological innovations or financial resource allocations alone. The deeper shift in human consciousness is at the center of true, genuine effort to protect Mother Earth. As long as you continue to believe and behave the way we have, there is no future. Mother Earth can't be saved. Put all the technological innovations together, put the entire financial and economic might of the world, but you remain stuck in the same Judeo-Christian fundamental values. No power on the planet can save Mother Earth. Nothing can ensure ecological security. So fundamental shift beginning from very childhood in the schooling system, in the colleges and university, has to be that of an approach of an attitude of a value system which first and foremost recognizes the sacredness of everything quote unquote other. This Mother Earth is not an inert, insentient, natural resource as Western philosophies have told us. I am water, I am earth. That is what, as a Paramhansa sannyasi, my spiritual, forget about environmental crisis, even as a spiritual seeker, I am supposed to identify with every single atom of the cosmos. I alone am earth. Every single atom in earth, everywhere, I am pervading. I as pure consciousness am pervading. So, can I hate myself? If I alone exist in every single atom of the universe, either manifesting as space or manifesting as air or fire or light or water or earth and all plant herbal life on this earth. Everything manifesting as an individual separate entity is my own manifestation. I alone as infinite space of pure awareness manifest as the entire universe. My dear divine friends, join me in the final prayer and deep contemplation for the protection of environment. The prayer and contemplation I am going to do, it's a universal prayer and contemplation and way of life that has to be adopted if we really care for Mother Nature, if we really want to protect Mother Nature, if we really realize that there is no future of ours, if the future of Mother Earth is compromised, then this is not the ritual that we perform on 5th of June every year, but every day of our daily life. Our routine life must be governed by the basic fundamental values that this prayer I am going to do in simple terms, practical terms. I am not going to use those Sanskrit verses. I will put the practical dimensions, simple language, simple way that we must connect, reconnect, imbibe and be established in those fundamental principles. Only then it would be a real resource and meaningful effort to protect Mother Earth, protect our natural environment. So let us realize first, let us connect. And this is not a myth, it's not a mental act. The sages and seers, I being a Paramhansa sannyasi, every morning, not for ecological crisis or driven by ecological crisis, I work for that, but even for my own ultimate freedom, what I do, that alone can prove as a savior of environment, and that's like this. Do you realize that you are separate from your surrounding environment? No, my dear friends, there is nothing in the universe. Let's realize, I'll help you in realizing this. And the entire humanity, as if at all the humanity has to protect itself at some or the other point of time. Before it's too late, you are forced to believe it. You must realize and believe and practice this. I, as pure light of consciousness, alone pervades in every single atom of this universe. I am one integrated, non-dual, invisible reality manifesting as dual, diverse, phenomenal worlds. Therefore, it's in my enlightened interests to ensure, to seek, to pray for, to work for the integrity, survival, sustenance and protection and nourishment of every single dimension of mind, whether as infinite space, whether as sun, the moon, the stars and the galaxies, they are all my own dimensions. If the sun, the moon, the stars and the galaxies are destroyed or the space is harmed, I end up being harmed. Therefore, I pray for the welfare, for the well-being of the sun, the moon, the stars, the galaxies, the infinite space, because I alone have manifested in the entire universe. I alone am in present, pervading as the illuminator and revealer in the entire space. I alone am blowing as air. I alone am blowing as air, and therefore I, being the sacred, inviolable, supreme self of the nature of pure awareness, I am inviolable in all my dimensions. So all air, entire air, the body of air must remain pure, pristine, inviolable, free from carbon dioxide, excessive pollutants. I don't enjoy being contaminated, polluted, intoxicated, poisoned. I myself am present in every single atom of the air. I alone have manifested in the entire world of fire. Wherever there is fire, whether in the wood, originally coming from sun, I am stars. So, my destiny and the destiny of sun and the destiny of that forest, which is source of fuel as well as source of the entire human civilization, are one. If I am depleting the forest cover containing the fire and the nourishment and food and other essential resources for our life, I am killing myself. So it's in my enlightened interest to protect every single atom of the space, the air, the fire in all its dimensions, and the water. Every single water body is my own body. There is not a single drop of water in any water body in the entire universe that is not mine. I, the self, the Atman, Brahman alone has manifested as every single drop of water in all the water bodies. All water bodies are sacred. Every single water body in the universe is that of Ganges, Mother Ganga alone. Mother Ganga is not a finite river flowing just in India. Same approach of sacredness has to be attached to all the water bodies in the world. They must be revered not ritualistically but deep within by behavior. We have to coexist. Me and the river bodies, me and the water bodies, me and the forest cover, me and the infinite space, all are one. Essentially, the source, substance and substratum of all is one self, Atman. If I exploit the water bodies, I deplete forest cover, I end up exploiting and destroying myself. Every single inch of Mother Earth, the land, the soil on Mother Earth and the entire plant life, animal kingdom on Mother Earth, the entire Biodiversity is on Mother Earth is my own manifestation. Me, the one non-dual self of the nature of pure awareness alone has manifested as millions and billions and trillions of species and living and non-living being species on Mother Earth. I alone am present in, I alone am throbbing as life. I alone am throbbing in the lungs of all the living beings. And I am one non-dual self. Therefore, even as an individual human being, it's in my enlightened interest that my future, all my happiness, love, bliss and beauty depends upon the love, bliss and beauty remaining intact on every single inch of Mother Earth. If I destroy and despoil and damage the love, bliss and beauty of a single plant, a single species, a single insect found on this planet, I am destroying somehow myself. Though rationally speaking it doesn't appear that it's happening, but the human mind is a finite illusory reality. Human mind doesn't have the capacity to see the reality. Once you transcend the mind, go beyond the realm of the mind, that is what we are supposed to do in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, transcendental meditation, then you realize that there is nothing that is other. There is no earth, there is no water beyond me, there is no air, space, sun, moon, galaxies or water bodies or forests. It's me and me alone that has manifested. Therefore, there is no question. Once you realize the inseparable nature of the ultimate reality within you and reality all around us, then there is no question of any violence, any aggression. All the wars, the violence of man against the man, the violence of communities against the communities, the violence perpetrated by the followers of one religion against the other religion, it all happens in utter darkness and ignorance, being oblivious of true nature of the reality. When you harm someone, injure someone, humiliate someone, essentially you harm, injure, humiliate yourself. There is no other. That is the fundamental non-dual philosophy, and it's not a matter of reading and believing. It's a deep philosophy you can experience. I have left my the kind of life I was enjoying and living, I've left all this behind and gone all for this life of Paramhansa sannyasi. What for? It's a deep realization. All my efforts during 30 years to protect environment, to alleviate suffering being inflicted on the deprived communities in one or the other way, where essentially all this was happening in ignorance and darkness. That is why I became a monk. Unless and until there is spiritual literacy, the mankind today needs nothing more than spiritual literacy. I don't mean that everyone has to become monk or has to leave the life behind and they have to go and live monastic. No, each one of us doing whatever we are doing must be rooted, firmly, deeply rooted in the ultimate reality and the nature of ultimate reality, that all is one integrated whole. The entire destiny of the mankind and the destiny of the entire cosmos is one. We have a collective destiny being interwoven, deeply rooted in the supreme reality of the nature of pure awareness. So as long as you are under the impression that there is you and me, the illusion of duality, there is no chance of any success in real sense of protecting environment. Ecological security is going to remain a subject of discussion, either intellectual discussion or political discourse or scientific minor here and there discovery will continue. But the deeper paradigm shift in human behavior is the foremost requirement if we really want to protect the environment. Unless and until we realize our collective destiny, the interrelatedness, the deeper unity of the entire existence must be realized. Young children must be taught in the school that there is nothing that you can call other in the real sense of the term. Forget about your neighbor and other family members and friends, not even all water bodies, all plants and forests, an entire earth is me and me alone. We are interrelated even at a rational level. Therefore, unless and until we break free from the root cause of ecological destruction, that is the principles governing the economic, commercial and social life based on Judeo-Christian values, the Abrahamic religions which celebrated, and they still continue to celebrate in some or the other way. My friends belonging to those religions, I have nothing against you because I am within you. I am a non-dual philosopher. Vedanta, I am universal philosophy. I believe in. But I myself find in a way responsible for that because I am within you, you are within me. It's my responsibility also if you are in ignorance for a few hundred years, if you have under the ignorance, if you have misbehaved, you have behaved in a certain way that has destroyed the environment, it has created existential crisis. It's incumbent upon me to teach you, to make you aware, not out of ignorance but out of concern for our collective future and collective destiny. You can teach me something, I can teach you something. It must be a collective learning process. You can give me something, I can give you something, because ultimately I and you are one, all are one, there is no duality. So finally we must hope and pray that the vast majority of humanity realizes the non-dual nature of the ultimate reality, and being deeply rooted in that reality, we can go for our daily life, whatever we want to do as farmers, as businessmen, as whatever, as scientists, as professors, as intellectuals, whatever station of life we are. But we must be rooted in the value and in the principle that we don't have individual destiny. Not a single individual has individual destiny. We have collective destiny. If my neighbor is starving and I am enjoying sumptuous meal, I am ensuring that someday I am going to starve. I am living very peaceful, prosperous life at the cost of killing the natural resource base, despoiling water bodies. I am ensuring that at some point of time I am going to be denuded of and deprived of the resources which are responsible for my well-being, for my prosperity and economic well-being. Therefore, my dear divine friends, let's take a pledge that we should try to inculcate deeply within that there is no one, either individual or species, in a deeper sense, who is other. We should not feel inimical, we should not behave inimical with anybody else. Nobody is other than us. All the natural resources, the ecological resources, are our own dimensions. As in case of our own body, we want to protect and preserve the health and integrity of our body. The entire cosmic existence is a body of ours alone. Therefore, let's pray and work for mentally, verbally and through deeds to protect, sustain those value systems, those philosophical systems, those cultural paradigms, those economic and commercial paradigms which are based on and which promote the collective well-being of not only entire mankind, but entire cosmos. The well-being of entire cosmos, the entire universe, nothing short of that, no resolve short of that can begin the true radical shift in our behavior that would ensure ecological security and sustainability of our economic activities too. So let's hope and pray. Om Sarve Nah Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. Om peace, peace, peace. I end up by just explaining the significance of these invocations of peace. The first peace is for, we are praying and wishing peace for all human beings. The second invocation for peace is for all the basic 5 elements and the entire universe made of the basic 5 elements, that of ether, sky, fire, water and earth. That ecological crisis pertains essentially to the second. The welfare of the first one, the human beings, at the cost of the bhautika jagata, the physical world, is ignorance. And the third piece is for the supreme reality, the transcendental dimensions of the existence which are responsible for well-being of all the manifested world. So let there be peace in every nook and corner of the cosmos, in the universe. Every single cell, every single particle, molecule and atom in the universe must be blissful and peaceful. Let's take a resolve to work for bliss and peace in every single nook and corner of the universe, because by ensuring peace and bliss in the other dimensions and manifestations of the universe, alone we ensure the peace and bliss that we are hankering after every moment. So it is in our enlightened interest that if we really want to enjoy the peace and bliss in our life, we must work mentally, verbally and actually through deeds to ensure peace everywhere, peace everywhere, peace everywhere. Thank you very much indeed, my dear friends. Thank you very much indeed. Let's take a pledge that every moment we will be sensitive, alive about our inherent nature of non-dual pure awareness, which will guide us. The light of consciousness will guide our personal, individual, community, national and universal life, economic, commercial, political, cultural, which would be in consonance with the fundamental and universal principles of sustainability. Sustainability of environment is foremost requirement. Without the sustainability of ecological resources, there can't be any sustainability of our life. We want sustainability and peace and progress in our life, then we must work for a safe Mother Earth, ecologically safe, pure, pristine, exuberant, vibrating, healthy, sacred Mother Earth. Sacred Mother Earth alone can, the approach to life and environment must be sacred Mother Earth, sacred environment. And that is what is the fundamental principle of Advaita Vedanta, non-duality. Therefore, non-duality must become a article of faith of each one of us. Only then and then we can ensure ecological security. The practical dimensions of Vedanta alone can ensure ecological security, security of Mother Earth, security of our natural environment. That alone is the recipe for well-being of all, prosperity of all. Om, Om, Om.